One. Welcome back to the upper tier, folks. This is the football podcast we bring you each and every day out there on YouTube. Head over there and smash that subscribe and bell notification button. And with it being an international break, I got the mashers together, Darren and Mark, our resident referee, the mashers from the Monday mashup. And we said we'd put together a couple of fun shows doing more of these combined 11s. Kind of by request from Mark. Mark kind of came up with the concept for these two as well, and Darren added to it as well. So this one we're going to do is our Premier League combined 11, excluding the top six, the traditional top six, which I think is probably the top six at the moment anyway. So
it is, yeah.
For this season. So an interesting one to say the least. So what we'll do is we'll kick it off with our resident referee, Mark. Mark, give us your goalkeeper and your back line.
My number one is Aston Villa's number one, Martinez. Having a goal. I think he's a great keeper. I think Arsenal were, obviously it's in hindsight they got Ramsdale in, but for a while with Leno, it was looking like it was a bad decision to let him go. So he's my number one. Yep. I've gone for 4 at the back. Right full, I've gone with another Aston Villa player, Matty Cash. I think he's a fantastic fullback. Obviously he likes to get forward as well. He's got 2 goals this season. He's still only 24 as well. So I think, if he continues the way he is playing, he might get a move elsewhere then as well. My 2 centre halves, I love a traditional centre half. One that gets stuck in. One of them now, he seems like he's been around donkey's years, is West Ham's Craig Dawson. I think he's having a great season. He's probably been integral to West Ham, what they've been doing this season defensively. So yeah, and he's 31, and he's still doing a job for himself.
Darren's looking at you there going, this is your defensive Sam Maximum moment. Darren, he is. I can see it in Darren going, Craig Dawson.
Listen, I think he's had a great season, and he's popped up with a goal or 2 this season as well. He's played a hell of a lot of games for a 31-year-old, beside him as well is a defender.
Is he only 31?
Yeah, 31, yeah.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's what I'm saying. He seems like he's been around forever.
Not only does he feel like he's been around forever, but he looks like he's been forever. Bloke looks like he's been dragged through a hedge backwards, man.
But those defenders in the Premier League, they age rapidly, don't they?
Oh yeah. Do you know what he reminds you of? Remember Richard Dunn? Richard Dunn always looked like he was fucked, but he had some fantastic games. Like he just gets stuck in, throw his body in front of everything.
Wait for Darren's comment now. He's going to say he was always fucked.
Because he was after having a 4-star pizza in him.
He's still done the job. But right beside him, I'm going for Wolves captain Conor Cody. I think I love him as a centre half, and he's got 2 or 3 goals this season. That video as well, he looks like a gentleman off the pitch. You see the video in Goodison Park when they all went over to that young lad, the sick young lad. He took off his jersey, he spent a bit of time with him. But again, I love that type of centre half, so I've gone with Conor Cody, centre half with Craig Dawson.
That good Scouse upbringing.
That's it. And left full, I've gone for a Southampton player. I've gone for Livramento at left full to finish off my back 4. It was a toss-up, in fairness, between him and Cresswell. I think Cresswell's been having
even though Livramento plays right back.
Yeah, but I had to get him into the team, so I put him at left back. Because I had to have Matty Cash at right full. So, but I was gonna put Cresswell in there, but I think he's.
I like Cresswell. I have to say.
Yeah, so Cresswell's actually on the bench, to be honest. So, like I said, he's a great delivery. Cresswell, he scores from free kicks and he's good at getting up and down. So that's me back 4 in here.
Have to keep an eye on Darren here. Darren has a pen in his hand here. He's adjusting as he goes along.
No. All here.
Don't show us. That was the back of a dirty envelope and all. Darren, go on. Give us your goalkeeper and your back 3 or 4 or whatever formation you've gone with.
Yeah, so I went 4-3-3 as well. There's a few little surprises in there. Maybe not so many, considering if you listen to the mashup, you'll know the kind of drum I beat week to week. I'm going to start off with my goalkeeper, who was the same as Marky's, Emiliano Martinez. I think he's quality. I think he's absolutely quality, I have to say. Now, in fairness, it was a toss-up for me. It was a 2-horse race for the position. The other guy made it to the bench, which we'll get to later. But yeah, I think Martinez is quality. I think, you know, he's brought an awful lot to that Villa back four, you know, an awful lot of solidity. He's good in the air. He's decent with his feet. He's a great shot stopper, you know, and he's all round a really, really good goalkeeper. Right back, I've gone with Kieran Trippier. I thought when he came in at Newcastle, his impact was unbelievable. You know, and for a guy that's been out of the league for a couple of years, I think he almost kicked on rather than looking like he was trying to, you know, it looked like he hadn't skipped the beat at all. Now, I know he hasn't maybe played as many games as we would have liked him to, but I just think when you're looking for a right back, he's got absolutely everything. Defensively, he's solid. He's great from a dead ball.
That was myself and Mark's conversation yesterday on WhatsApp. Mark was toying with Kieran Trippier, and he didn't put him in for the reason you said, because he hadn't played a lot of football. Yeah.
So I wasn't. Yeah. Well, I think he's tops. I really do.
Yeah.
Left back. Again, if you're a mashup fan, you'll know I'm partial to Sideshow Bob from Brighton, Mark Cucurella. What a footballer this kid is! Great bit of business from Brighton. And they got him in from Getafe in Spain. Like that one. And paid about 15 million for the kid. He's a super footballer. He's a really super footballer.
Unbelievable engine.
Great engine. Tactically, he's astute. You know, technically, he's really good. He's got an unbelievable engine. I just think he has it all, the kid, you know. I know he typically plays in the back five, but I have him in here left back in my back four. So again, there was decisions to be made here in the back four in that centre back position. The first lad I've gone with is the boy Joachim Andersen at Crystal Palace. He's unbelievable. He really is. He spent last season on loan at Fulham from Lyon, and this season he is at Crystal Palace. He is superb. Really good footballer, this kid. He's brave, you know. He does what, you know, like as Mark said earlier, you know, kind of old style throwback centre back. He'll put his head in where guys won't put their feet. But you know, he can play with the ball at his feet as well. He marshals defence very well. I'm a huge fan of his. I don't think he'll be at Crystal Palace for long, if I'm honest. And his partner is Mohamed Salisu from Southampton, another steal from La Liga. Again, I think the Saints paid about 14 or 15 million from him. This guy is really top notch, I have to say. Plays in that left centre back role. Again, good in the ball, tackles well, heads well. Just seems like any time I watch Southampton, he's having an 8 or a 9 out of 10 game. You know, now maybe he needs to because of how open they can be at times, but he's a really super centre back. Again, I don't think he's going to be at the Saints for a long time. I'd say the clubs above him in that table are going to be looking down, going, what's it going to take us to get this guy out there?
Yeah. It's going to be that Vestergaard part 2, isn't he? But a much better player.
Well, I think he'll actually end up playing games.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great choices. I went with a slightly different formation. I'm normally a 4-3-3 guy, but I went with a 3-4-3 because I wanted to put together a midfield that's worthy of winning the Premier League in my eyes. So what I went for in nets, and I'm sure Darren won't be surprised at this, I went slightly different to you two boys. I went with Jose Sa as my first choice goalkeeper. And I went with a back three. And my back three that I went with, which is kind of unusual with what I picked. It wouldn't be necessarily a traditional back three that you would pick. But I went with Matty Cash, Connor Cody, and Mark Cucurella as my back three. Massive amount of pace, massive amount of energy, and a nice little sit in there from Connor Cody. So that's what I went with a back three, because my priority was on putting together a championship winning midfield.
Well, you're gonna need it because that is open as hell.
Listen, I want to play exciting football.
This is like Leeds 2.0, like going in with one centre back like Cody who doesn't move particularly well, and the two boys are going to be up the taxi rank getting crosses in. Like, Jesus.
You think that's open? Wait till you see the midfield. Good Lord, the midfield never come back over the halfway line. Wait till you see these guys. Mark, give us your midfield. You went for a 4-3-3, didn't you?
No, we've gone 4-4-2.
Oh, okay.
One sitting, and the one that's sitting in front of the back four is Declan Royce of West Ham.
Okay.
So obviously, still a little bit bitter what happened under Martin O'Neill, but he's having a fantastic season with West Ham. I've gone
not better enough to exclude him though. No.
No, listen.
Darren would exclude him if he was better enough.
I wouldn't. Don't forget, I am not a Roy Keane fan.
If I was just going to say that you had Roy Keane in your Premier League 11, so
that's right.
But I'll go.
I'm not that guy.
In my second midfielder again is a West Ham player I'm a big fan of, and it's Jared Bowen. I think it's self-explanatory. He's had a fantastic season. I listened to his on the mashup, and I agree. I think if he hadn't been injured, he would have been called into the England squad. I think it's well deserved.
Yeah,
I think there was a lot. Yeah, I think there was a lot of pressure on him when Antonio had gone through that little dry spell. Bowen scored a good few goals as well as popping in with a few assists. So he was all over the pitch, and yeah, I really like him. Then as well, I have another midfielder that I actually love watching. Ian will be happy with this. It's Conor Gallagher from Crystal Palace.
Great choice.
Fantastic player.
He definitely makes it into Niall's team. 112%.
100%.
Yeah, no, he is. He's having a fantastic season. Like, you know, he's you'd like to think that after this season he might get a chance to fight for a place in the Chelsea squad next season. But
I'd like to think that one other team comes in and buys him and he never goes back to Chelsea.
Yeah, like
that's how much I regard him.
No, for his own career, yeah. But like, I think he's had such a and listen, it's probably got a lot to do with like playing under Vieira. I think Vieira, like I probably said at the start, that was probably going to be one of the first managers to be sacked, to be honest with you. And he's after doing an absolute 360. He's doing a great job. I think Dazzler probably said that he was going to stay in, wasn't it, Dazzler? I think there was a few of us said that I genuinely thought he'd be one of the first sacked. But he's doing a fantastic job there, obviously, into the semi-final of the FA Cup as well. So, and my final midfielder is a player who's won me a few quid over the seasons, but signed from Norwich and plays for Leicester now. It's Mr. James Madison. I have him in midfield there. Obviously, he's been unlucky with a few injuries and all this season, but when he's in that team, you feel like something's going to happen. He'll either get a chance to score from a free kick or he'll whip in a cross or something like that, you know. So that's my 4 in midfield.
Nice. Darren, gives your midfield.
Yeah, so we've gone 4-3-3. So I've 3 in midfield. I've 1 as an anchor. And then I've got kind of 2 slightly further ahead. 1 6 and 2 8s, some may say. Yeah, I have to agree with Mark. I've gone with Declan Royce at the base of this, just to try and put a little bit of protection in front of the back 4. And, you know, the kid's really, really good on the turnover with the ball at his feet. Like that, he uses the ball very, very well. He's able to break a pace. He spots a pass, travels well with the ball, has a goal in him. He's a nasty little piece of work. I just can't fault the kid. I think he's absolutely top of the pops. I really do. And in beside him, I've gone with Ruben Neves from Wolves.
Super.
Yeah.
You know, really, really good footballer. Again, kid has it all. His engine is top of the pops, likes a tackle, he's physical, sees a pass, likes to score goals. And, you know, I just think, again, like when I look at this, when I look at the team on paper, every one of them you're kind of thinking, should be playing higher, you know. Especially when you look at some of the bigger clubs and some of the bigger teams and what they've got in there. Like, I mean,
it's amazing with Wolves, isn't it? Wolves have so many captains on the team at any one time.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna look at my starting 11, right? And I don't think there's any one of them I wouldn't have at Man United, and I don't think there's any one of them that probably wouldn't get into Man United's team at this stage, you know, and they're all playing outside of that traditional big 6, you know.
That's a big question. Would you take Craig Dawson instead of Harry Maguire?
I'd take Mrs. Dawson ahead of Harry Maguire.
But you look at that Wolves team, and you could have 5 lads on the pitch there that you could put a captain's armband on and you wouldn't be worried at all. Quality right through it at times.
Absolutely not. So I've gone Royce and I've gone Neves, and I'll finish my midfield. This was really, really tough, I have to say. I had one guy for the bench, and then the last spot in the midfield was going to one of these two, both English lads. Both have a touch of red in their jersey, but the one I've gone for is James Ward-Prowse. I think he's having a fantastic season. Again, technically very, very good. He keeps the ball moving in that Southampton midfield very, very well. You don't see an awful lot of sideways passes from him. He always has his head up. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a Michael Carrick, where he just sits in there, gets control of the ball, and looks to kind of pop it about and stuff like that. And again, like Carrick, goes under the radar at times, where you think he's not as flashy doing certain things, other than obviously the set pieces. But just a really, really good all-round footballer. Again, he's the captain in there. So you're going in with probably, Neves, Royce, and Ward-Prowse. They're probably three captains in their own right, aren't they?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Very strong. Well, I went with a midfield of 4. And my 4 midfield, I went with the idea like Kevin Keegan. These are going to be 4-3 games. I don't give a damn about defending. I'm trying defending out. It's all about forward play. Forget about balance and all this kind of crap. Let's score goals and do the business.
Yeah, we know how your team talks goes for Grace.
That's how it does every time. Yeah, it doesn't pan out that way, though, unfortunately. So I went with a man that I know. I'm not sure about you, Mark, but I know Darren reveres this man very much so. Jacob Ramsey of Aston Villa. Absolutely stunning player. Huge career ahead of him and stuff like that. Then I had a mixture of you guys that I went in the middle then with Ruben Neves and Conor Gallagher. I think anyone who watches our shows knows Conor Gallagher beyond that page for me and Ruben Neves. Yeah. And then I went with a man. I didn't stray too far from Jacob Ramsey on the far side, and I went with one John McGinn. And that's the midfield 4 I went with box to box, power, skill, youth, grit, desire, all the way through the 4. But that was.
I thought you were talking about the panel here. Sorry, go ahead now.
It's only 3 of us. Yeah, so they're the 4 I went with in midfield. I know some viewers.
McGinn, Neves, and Gallagher.
Ramsey, Neves, Gallagher, and McGinn. It's very strong midfield, very much forward thinking. But I know McGinn and Gallagher wouldn't let me down in terms of throwing an L tackle in, and I know Neves is partial to a tackle as well, even though he's highly skillful going forward and stuff like that. I say I like that midfield. To me, that could be a championship winning midfield in the Premier League over time. Very, very strong. So I was very happy with that. And the reason I went with 3-4-3 is I wanted to get 4 in midfield, because trying to dissect that midfield down to try and include the guys that you like. I mean, we're spoiled for midfielders.
Absolutely spoiled. Yeah. I would say the midfield was the part I redid the most amount of times.
Yeah.
I think I was fairly happy with my front line, and I was pretty happy with my back line and my keeper. But that midfield, I just kept scribbling names out and going another guy in, and and really, like, while we've probably got, if you're playing 3 in midfield, you might have 2 subs, you might have 5 midfielders. You could have absolutely easily had 8 or 10.
Yeah, easily. Definitely. And even if you repick them and stuff like that, not devalued in any way, still very, very strong.
Absolutely.
Right, Mark, give us your front line. And we could both probably guess one of them anyway, without a doubt.
Actually, no, I haven't gone for him. He's on me bench. He made me bench.
Jesus.
I just done that to see the looks on your face.
Dropped he was. Darren, what do you think of that dropping his main man?
Lollipop.
Now, what's it, Dazzler? You saying impact sub he's going to be,
That's it.
We're going for 2 up top. My first player it's so funny, before he got the move to the club that he's with now, he nearly signed for Celtic. So he's probably thanking his lucky stars that he didn't go there. He's having a fantastic season with a team I like watching a lot. So I've gone for Ivan Toney up front. And beside him is a lad that has gone through the run of the mill lately. And Ted actually tipped was it the top 6 he said he'd finished? Ted say Wolveswood. So I've gone for Raul Jimenez and Ivan Toney up top.
Okay. Darren, give us your front three, is it?
Front three, yeah. So backing up or ahead of Royce, Neves, and Ward-Prowse. We've gone on the right. We've gone with Jared Bowen.
Yep.
Self-explanatory, as Marky says. Kid's been outrageous this season. If you were to pick one player outside of the top six this season and say, there's your player of the season, I'd probably give it to Bowen. I just think he's been unbelievable for West Ham. And again, he's a guy that doesn't necessarily have to score or assist to affect the game, which I love about footballers, you know. On the left-hand side of my front three, I had to get this guy in. And this will be a small shock to Mr. Hogan there, but I had to get Philippe Coutinho in.
It's not a shock at all.
I just had to, you know. I looked at possibly playing the diamond in midfield and playing him as the 10, but the problem I had then was Bowen's not really a guy to play through the middle, so I wanted to keep him wide. So I actually played Coutinho on the left-hand side. I think since he's come back, he's been outrageous. I think we've seen a lot of glimpses of, you know, the Philippe Coutinho that was at Liverpool, not the Philippe Coutinho that maybe, you know, languished in the Barcelona reserves and stuff like that. But now he's really shown what he's capable of, and I think it was a master stroke from Stevie getting him in and stuff like that. It'll be very very tough to hold on to him, I'd imagine. But I think if he's ever going to sign for it, you know, for one of the lesser lights in the league, Aston Villa have as good a chance as any, because he looks like he's enjoying himself there. And I think he understands that Stevie's trying to build something there. And I think it might be something he could sign up for.
Yeah, it'd be excellent.
And Bowen and Coutinho flank my rookie of the year. And again, won't be a big surprise here. The boy Armando Broja. What a footballer this kid is.
Great show.
Big, strong, physical, and super fit for a guy that size. Can obviously head the ball really well. He's a good finisher, has close control. You know,
puts himself about.
He really puts himself out there, you know. And this is a kid that I just think is going to get better and better and better. I've got to say, and I don't like making. All right, I'm gonna lie. I do like making predictions, but I just think this kid could be, you know, one of the biggest footballers in world football in the next 5 to 6 years, if he keeps going the way he has so far. Do you know what I mean? I think he's got everything, and he gets into my team, and he finishes it off.
And Dazza, he's got a great manager there looking after him, so I can't see why he wins. The amount of Southampton players that we've just mentioned, you know, says a lot about how Ralph's doing this season, you know.
100%. And I mean, if he goes back to Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel would absolutely adore this kid.
Yeah.
Adore him. You know, because he likes to play that, he likes to play with that kind of big target man up front. And he would absolutely do the job that Romelu Lukaku was failing to do at the minute.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. He's everything that Romelu Lukaku should have been.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and the shades of Haaland about him as well, isn't it, in terms of size and strength and everything and all.
Yeah. And I like the kind of, he's got a little bit of swagger about him. He's a little bit arrogant, and he's kind of looking at guys thinking, yeah, you're all right, but you couldn't lace me fucking Nikes, you know.
A tad bit of shithousery, which is what you need.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, I went for a front three. I mean, obviously, Darren, you won't be surprised. Philip Coutinho's in there anyway. Without a doubt, he's been unbelievable. Came in, he's lit the league up, and he's been sensational. I pushed James Madison up more forward. Didn't necessarily want to play him out in midfield, so I have him kind of central at the front. And my final forward, one that you've spoken about a lot, Darren, and we've both spoken about on multiple shows. One Brian Mbeumo, sensational player this year. I think he's been absolutely unbelievable. So that's a kind of an interesting front three that I went with. Probably not what you might have expected. But Brian Mbeumo, James Madison, and Philip Coutinho.
Did you not get Jarrod Bowen in your starting 11?
I didn't, and you know the funny thing about it as well, and you know I'm at fault, and I'll put my hand up as well. I don't even have him on my bench, and I should have, and it's not that I should have left him out. Do you know something? I don't know what it is because I've been talking about him all season. I don't know whether it's the fact that maybe he's been out injured and stuff like that. No, maybe he just didn't come to mind. But as you said, you put your pen marks through these at times. But definitely Jarrod Bowen, I could put in there. There's no doubt about it. I put my hand up on that. I could probably change that out, yeah, absolutely, to a fault. But I've some. Mark, give us your bench because we should have some interesting picks now on the bench that will generate a little bit of debate.
Yeah, well, my sub-keeper was your number one. I've gone for Salah on my bench. I've gone for Creswell, who obviously I spoke about earlier. I have John McGinn in there as well, because I think he's having a fantastic season. I think we spoke about him saying that he could walk into like United midfield at times. I've gone for James Ward-Prowse for obvious reasons, which he spoke about. And my last sub is the main man himself, my boy, St. Maximum. That finishes off my bench.
He loves that guy. Darren, give us your bench.
Yeah, so I'll round it out and it'll be a clean sweep because I've got Sa on the bench as well. So we all either had Sa or Martinez.
Yeah, I've Martinez on the bench, yeah. So yeah, absolutely.
And in fairness, you could have had either of them, and I don't think
it's a flip of a coin, isn't it? Like,
absolutely, yeah.
Just as a question, Darren, if you had to go with a third keeper, who would you pick? One of the boy off Newcastle?
No, Kasper Schmeichel.
Kasper Schmeichel, yeah, good show.
I do like Kasper. I think Kasper's tops. I just think Leicester's have a really difficult season. I think Sa's obviously had a massive impact at Wolves, and I just think Martinez is the best of the rest outside of what's there.
Yeah, I think Kasper's problems has been what's in front of him more so than his own performance.
100%,
yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got Jose Sa. In front of Jose Sa, I would have his Wolves teammate Roman Saiss. I think Saiss is really underrated. He's one of those guys, and we've talked about it before. He's like a 7 out of 10 every week. Just every week. He shows up every week and he's solid. He loves a tackle. He takes free kicks, which, there's very few centre-backs in the league take free kicks. He hit the crossbar at Old Trafford. He's always good for a header every couple of weeks. I know he's absolutely smashing fancy football this season as well. So I have Saiss on my bench. I've got Conor Gallagher on my bench. I really, really wanted to get Conor in this team because I'm a huge fan of his. But there just wasn't space for all of them.
It's the formation, isn't it? You have to change the formation if you want to fit them in.
Yeah. And I couldn't, like, as good as he's been, I couldn't put him ahead of Neves, Royce, or Ward-Prowse.
But you could have went with a 4-5-1.
Could have went with a 6-5-12, but this is the problem. And like the next guy, like I don't even have James Madison on my bench. The next guy I have is also a midfielder, and again it's Yves Bissouma. And like we're massive fans of his. Yeah. And we have been. And then I have again, outside of the top 6, which this is obviously, I think Ollie Watkins is terrific. Really, really terrific, I have to say. I think he's a smashing striker, this kid. I think he moves well. I think he's hungry. He's quick. He's got good technique. I think, if the finishing could get slightly better, you could be looking at a really top footballer. So we've got Sa, Saiss, Gallagher, Bissouma, and Watkins on my bench.
Nice. It's amazing, isn't it? A blend of West Ham and Villa and Wolves. And you probably have close to a title running side in terms of being up there and stuff like that, isn't it? It's mad the quality underneath that top 6.
You probably won't get that in any other leagues. Like if you look at La Liga and all, and you look outside the top teams and there won't be that quality, I won't say.
Yeah, well, especially when you take the top 6 teams. Like, imagine taking the top 6 teams out of the French league, and then trying to pick a combined 11. Got to be you're talking Aircom, you're talking LFL. Yeah, as you know, I went with Martinez on the bench. It's a flip of a coin between himself and Sa, but I went with Sa. I have a couple of interesting names on here, Darren. I know you're fans of these guys, but I put in there. I went with Max Aarons. I wanted to go a little bit down the league, so I went with Max Aarons in there. I thought having Ruben Neves in there, I put his partner on there in case I needed him. João Moutinho. Yeah. He's in there. Declan Royce is on my bench as well, but again, you could put Declan Royce into the midfield or take him out. Depending on whether I go a few goals up and I need that bit of defensive thinking in there, I could swap him on, you know. I went with another guy, Darren, that you might not have expected him on my bench, but we have spoke about him a lot. Joshua Sargent.
Yeah.
Put him in there.
Good shout.
Yeah.
And then I rounded out with Marksman, who he had on his team, Ivan Toney. So that was my bench. So slightly a little bit different. You mightn't necessarily expect to pull two guys from Norwich.
No, and you know what? Again, we only had 16 players, so this was tough, but not one of us got Rafinha in.
Yeah.
And I mean, how good a player is he? You know, and we didn't even manage to get him in.
I suppose they've had a tough season, haven't they? It's kind of like, I know you included Basuma in your team as well, but probably from his standards, he probably hasn't had the season that he wanted because Brighton have kind of laboured through the season a little bit.
Yeah,
but still a quality player, like.
And no Richarlison, no,
absolutely not. If I put together 6 benches, he wouldn't make it. Guy's a fraud.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Okay, listen. I hope United sign him. The guy's a fraud. you think Pogba's been stealing a living at United? Well, Richarlison goes there if he does.
We won't go near him.
No, 100%.
He will absolutely 112% end up at PSG.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah, he'll go to a league where goals just fall in over the line, basically. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, going on his form this season, he could stay in Merseyside, go to Tranmere.
Do you know something? Tranmere probably wouldn't even let him inside the gate.
He'd never walk at that long throw from your man Dave Chalmers.
Yeah, something else.
Tranmere now being the second biggest name in Liverpool. So I doubt it very much.
I thought that was the Liverpool ladies team.
Well, just below the reserves. Well, lads, that's been a pleasure. That was a lot of fun, that one. Great shout out, lads, for that one. Absolute classic episode. Some interesting names, and none of them, I don't know. It's interesting actually when we were putting this together. None of what we've put together, the three of us, seems out of place in any way. I could probably have been a little bit defensive in my thinking. But feck it, what the hell, you know? I'm here to entertain, aren't I?
We're here for a good time.
Yeah. Well, anyway, folks, let us know your picks down in the comments there. Let us know what your combined 11 would be on your bench. Let's see if you agree or disagree with our picks and who you thought hit it out of the park. I know I'll score plenty of goals, but I'll probably give up a few as well, but however. Till next time, lads. Cheers.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, lads.